the items we're going to be covering in our buyer's guide is the use of a suction line accumulator. This is a standard feature on all legacy chillers. It's a component that sits between the compressor and the evaporator. The key benefit from a suction line accumulator, which I'll show you in a minute, is that it prevents any liquid refrigerant from making it back to the compressor. And this dramatically increases the operating life of your compressor. What we're looking at here is the suction line that is coming out of the evaporator. Now we're going to cover this in our on-screen piping diagram, but this is what it looks like. So we have our suction line that comes down. This blue vessel right here is the suction line accumulator. And as we mentioned earlier, this sits right in between the compressor, which is this, and the evaporator, which is connected to this pipe here. And again, what its benefit is it sits between the compressor and the evaporator, protecting the compressor from any flooding liquid refrigerant through usually a defective thermal expansion valve.
So let's take a look at the basic refrigeration system and how a suction line accumulator can help. So let's start at the compressor, and we'll follow the compressor discharge line, which discharges high pressure gas. We go into our condenser. Out of the condenser we come out as a high pressure liquid. So that liquid will move along this line here, called the liquid line, through the dryer, the sight glass, the liquid line solenoid, and into our thermal expansion valve, which meters the amount of refrigerant up here to our evaporator. It comes out of the evaporator as a low pressure gas. Now what this should be in this line is indeed gas. Now sometimes what will happen is the thermal expansion valve will fail, and when that occurs, in some cases the expansion valve will fail open, which basically means you'll flood this evaporator, and instead of having gas in this line, you could potentially fill this line up with liquid. Now, compressors are not designed to pump or compress a liquid refrigerant. They're designed to compress only vapor. So what the accumulator does is it sits right between the evaporator and the compressor and acts as a barrier or extra layer of protection to make sure that the compressor is always seeing low pressure gas. Now what the accumulator does in its net effect is it dramatically increases the life of the compressor by way of protecting it.